I think both of these guys might know intuitively because did you notice both the colleges they attended have a Christian affiliation and their life choices are a little suspect too. Leibark is majoring in political science and Doron has graduated with a degree in social work and is working in a social service office. It must be a huge paying job in Kankakee. They may look like clean-cut young men, but if their ideas catch on, the world of sport may not be the same. Just like that well-meaning rabbi walking by those infirm people at the pool. If we take his ideas seriously, life may be radically changed. And not just for the man on the mat, but for us all. If we can isolate this story to a specific time and place, our lives will be safe. If this is only a miracle story involving Jesus and one guy, it will be as meaningless as a playoff between two guys from small colleges just outside of Chicago. But if we bring it into our lives, let it run around inside of us, let Jesus' question to the man also be a question to us, it can be a pretty problematic piece. An article I read this week invited us to notice that the Portico of Solomon was packed with a crowd of sick people. The blind, the lame, the weak. And it caused me to wonder if Jesus' words weren't just addressed to one man, but to all of them. What if they were all invited to be made whole, but only the one guy responded, and with a complaint? I don't have anybody to carry me to the water, so I never get there in time, he moans. He was paralyzed. The Greeks didn't have a word for paralyzed, so they used the word shriveled. And so, every time the waters were stirred, he gets shunted aside. Which may lead us to a very good question. If what you have been doing for 38 years hasn't worked, why do you keep doing it? The only possible reason for the gang that gathered at the pool is that they had gotten used to the life they led. It was home. It was all they knew. Life around the pool became their way of being. Wake up in the morning, enjoy a little pity from the passers-by, bathe in the intention of the compassionate, reap in a spot of charity or two if you're lucky. It had become a way of life. A miserable sort of life, but a life. And here's where that miracle story begins to invade our way of life too. For many of us, I suspect, we're so accustomed to our particular, safe pattern of living that we may become unaware of the fact that there is more that God is calling us to. We get so accustomed to the familiar, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year way we do things, that we fail to realize the difference between living and simply existing. So the real question is, do you really want help to change? That's a tougher question than we think, because there are still Pharisees around, coming in many forms, who tell us, like the guys on sports radio and columnists, that if we change any paradigm at all, order will fall, and there will be utter and complete chaos. You're supposed to give it your best shot, say the pundits, not just for yourself, but for the sport. You're not supposed to heal or be healed on the Sabbath, say the religious pundits of Jesus' day. Not because healing is not a good thing to do, but because for the sake of the rules that are supposed to keep the game of life together. Jesus wants to give the man more than just physical healing. He wants to give him a new life. That's what Jesus is always offering, and that's the scary part of the message. In order to follow Jesus, we're going to have to get up and do something different. We are going to have to abandon our old, tried and true ways of doing things that aren't working now because they haven't worked maybe for even as long as 38 years. We have to change, or be like the people at the pool, waiting for an angel to stir up the waters while our life just shrivels away. Instead of an angel, Jesus comes. The majority of the people still at the pool sit there, bound to their old ways. But one man takes Jesus at his word, takes up his mat, and walks into an entirely new life. That's what Jesus longs to give. And all we have to do is accept his help and make a little effort. Just a little effort to get up. Just a little push to our feet might be all it takes. And that movement, however slight, however halting, gives God enough room so that healing can begin. Change isn't ever easy. As Grant Weibeck discovered, try to change the system, even by doing a good deed, and you're going to be drawing a lot of fire by those who think the accepted ways to play the game are the only ways. But as the man by the pool discovered, with Jesus at the center of our change, we can be given back our life. We need help to change. We need someone by our side telling us that the old ways of doing things were good for some things, but not for everything. We need someone to tell us that it is possible to live our lives differently. We need someone to encourage us not to be bound to the old rules when they hinder us, but to try something new. We need someone to tell us when everyone else is saying that we are wrong, that what we did was right, because it was God's way and not the world's way. We need someone to tell us, stand up, take up your mat and walk. We have that someone. You know his name. It's Jesus Christ, in whom there is always the offer to change, the offer of new life, now and forever. Amen.